Hello, my name is Crystal Chibu and I'm your Hope Catalyst, and you are welcome to the Hope Grill, where we teach, infuse and experience hope. With me today is a survival, one that has fought life and has come out really very, very strong. She's a lawyer, she's a family life practitioner, she's a play therapist and an advocate of Own Your Essence. You're welcome to the grill, Zuriel. It's so good to have you, and thank you for coming, because I mean, I don't know how, so many people that you reach out to and just show up. So I'm really excited that you're here. More importantly, I'm excited that you're here to share your story.
I'm honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You've attempted a lot of suicide. So I know twice. So it's not just one time. But I know there's more to it than just wanting to commit suicide. What happened?
Well, I remember when I was 3, my dad left us. And, a child that is just 3, you see every other child with their dad, you go to church, you see them with their father, you're in school, their dad comes to pick them up, and you're wondering, where is this man? Where the hell has he gone to? And you can't comprehend it as a child. You go for your cousins' birthdays, you go to spend all the days with your cousins, you're seeing them with their dad, and it just got to a point where I became very aggressive. It got to a point where I became very violent, and for me, I got to that point where I said, for every man I come in contact with, from every boy I come in contact with, I must take blood out of them. Because I was taking a vendetta of the man that was supposed to be a father. I was taking a vendetta of a man that was supposed to be my caregiver, of the man that was supposed to be my protector, to be my friend on guys.
But Zuriel, you were just 3 years old. How can a 3-year-old begin to think of suicide, begin to think of taking blood from someone else?
Suicide didn't start when I was 3, but it was a build-up of everything I went through. From the moment he walked out of the house and did not come back till I got into primary school. My first suicide attempt was I think I was in primary 6 when my first suicide attempt happened. And I remember it was one of those days I did something wrong. And definitely my mom, being a very fantastic mother, an awesome mom, really playing the role of a mother and a father. She really juggled that well. But when you are not in the position of that child, when you are not in the emotions that child is going through, you would really not understand what the child is going through. She was playing a dual role, and she was playing it awesomely. But for me, I knew I needed a father figure. So I did something wrong, and she scolded me for it. This is something I would go to my cousin's home and they would do, and nobody would beat them. So I just thought, this woman is wicked.
Wow.
And I felt, if I take my life, it's better. After all, I do not have a father. So for everything I do, and you punish me for it, I will always use the excuse of, after all, there's no daddy in the house, so that is why you're doing this to me. So basically, my first attempt was when, in primary 6, I took a knife and I was about stabbing myself. Somebody came into the room.
Wow.
The knife dropped from my hand. Till date, that person did not know I tried committing suicide. Not until when I told the person, do you know
what
when
did the person think? Like you were playing with knife, you wanted to cut papers or something?
The person thought I brought in the knife to do something else. But even with that, the person really spanked me. What are you doing with knife? And I just looked at her. If only you knew. Okay, I'm going to kill myself in the night. But it never happened. Not until when I got into secondary school. I met the likes of every other girl. Well, some girls who were also in my positions. Okay, some had fathers, but their daddies were not there. So you had girls who had parents, who had fathers in their life, but were not present in the life of those girls. So what we did, 6 of us, I remember us vividly, we formed what was called Solon Sisters, what you would ordinarily call like a gang today. We weren't cultists, but we were gangsters.
Okay.
So we became the venom in school. We became the girls you do not cross their path.
Wow.
We became the girls that would take out any boy. I remember I had a fight with a certain boy, and I told...
So, is it okay if I call you a feminist? Or is that
I'm not
what
a
you
feminist.
are? Interesting.
I'm not a feminist.
Because when you start talking of, the girl gang, these so long girls and all of that...
we're just girls who were upset. We were not bitter.
Or were you rebelling?
We were rebellious. We were just girls who were rebellious against men. We had gotten to the point we understood that the man who was supposed to be our protector was not there. So we, in our unconscious state of not understanding that the guys out there were not the cause of our problem. Other girls that had fathers in their life, that had daddies in their life, playing the role of a father, playing the role of a daddy, were not the cause of our own problem. So the cause of our own problem was the man who was supposed to be there for us, who was supposed to give us wings to fly, who just disappeared. So in our unconscious and ignorant states, then we took it out on any guy that came to us. I remember I had a fight with a guy then, and I told, normally when we're fighting with a guy, when the guy crosses our path and we lash out on the guy, it's a 6-gang thing.
Wow. We
all come together. But on this particular day, I told the other 5 girls, leave me. This is the battle line between me and him. I'll fight this fight. And I remember removing one of his dentation.
He looks so small. How did you
I am petite, but I'm a dynamite. Don't
Apparently.
worry. Like people would always say, fight is not power. Fight is annoyance. Fight is anger. And until you understand the depth, especially if you realize that you have anger issues, never ever go to the battlefield with anyone, because you could kill that person at that state of your being angry. So I remember that fight, and that fight for me, that was one of the time I actually drew out blood from somebody's body, and initially I felt remorse about it, but at a point I felt I needed that blood to come out from him. I needed to teach him a lesson that I'm a woman, I'm a babe. You don't dare my path. Wow. So it was something. My second attempt of suicide was also in secondary school also. I think I was in SS2 then. We had started doing a lot of things as young girls then. We had started smoking. I was the leader who introduced some of them into smoking. And I think I just got to that point where I just got tired of everything. I just got tired of everything. I wanted to give up on everything. Nothing meant anything to me anymore. And as much as I enjoyed life, because I remember that even in secondary school, I enjoyed my life. I enjoyed life. I had everything at my beck and call. So it wasn't as if I was denied anything as a child. But I just got tired of every other thing. I think I got tired of what I was doing. I was deliberately hurting people. I was deliberately hurting myself. So it wasn't an unconscious hurt of people. It was a deliberate thing. I set out every morning to want to hurt people.
Wow.
So I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking, who have I not hurt this morning? Who should I hurt today? Who should I put on a small scale of hurt? Who should I put on a medium scale of hurt? Who should I put on a high level intensity of hurt? So that was my daily routine. I think this particular time I just got tired and I said, I'm going to give everything all up. It wasn't worth it anymore. And the second time was trying to drink a concussion. I had a knife. I had the option of using a knife again or using the concussion again. But at that instant, something just spoke to me from nowhere, and it was like, if you die for yourself. And actually looked back, turned around to see if a friend was there or somebody was there. There was just nobody there. I tried it again and I heard the voice that said, if you die for yourself. If you die, someone else will live out your purpose. And for me, that was my defining moment. Defining moment to say, okay, no more suicide. But it wasn't a defining moment to say I was going to really stop
hurting people.
But for me, that was a pleasure. It was one pleasure I just
when I think of you saying that you just wake up to want to hurt people, in today's world, you probably say that is, probably you were possessed. Maybe it was a demon. Maybe it was something. Do you think something was responsible for you just coming up like that? Or do you think that there was a spiritual attack?
There was no spiritual attack anywhere. The truth about it is that when an individual is traumatized and does not meet an intervention. A traumatized individual is an individual that is a time bomb waiting to go off. So when an individual is traumatized and does not meet an intervention, either in therapy or either in counseling, added with prayer, the one we say the spiritual aspect, well, what the person does, the person would always want to transfer their traumatic experience or their traumatic state to someone else. So someone that is traumatized would always want to hurt someone. Because at that moment, you are not happy. You have lost your essence. You have lost your person. Your person has no meaning to you. So you're living a life that is being, at that instant, that person is living a life like, you're living a life like a time bomb. You're living per second.
Is that really what people say when they say hurting people hurt? So,
hurting people hurt.
So because you're hurting, you're likely to hurt.
Because when you're hurting, when a person is hurting, it's like, it's a taboo for you to be happy around that person. It's more or less like an injustice. So an hurting person would naturally or generally see someone that is happy and is acting what is making you happy. Wow. So if it was before and I'm seeing you opening this your teeth,
you'll be wondering.
I could slap you. And ask you why you're opening your teeth.
So hold that thought. Let's go on a break. We will be right back. You're welcome to the grill. Zuriel, all of these experiences, the person that you had become at this time, how did all of those things come together to form the new you that we all know?
I think I got to my defining moment when I realized that I was only taking myself down the drain. I was intentionally being wicked to myself and being wicked or ungrateful to the one person who was there for me when all this was going on, and that was my mom. And I think that was one of the things that actually made me to read law, because I just felt I needed to fight injustice. I needed to help children more. Also while growing up, I also had encounter with people, with young people, or with children who were almost, who were molested, who were sexually abused. And that drew me into the law profession. I think I did that for maybe 9 years before leaving the law profession. And for me, I realized that the depth of humanity is when you get to that point that you have lost your essence. When you get to that point as a being and you no longer value yourself, when you get to that point as a being, when you begin to question your competency, when you get to that point as a being, when you ask yourself if you're good enough for others, wanting to live for others, it simply means that you've lost your essence. And it has actually pushed me to that point where I just did not become a lawyer. I became a play therapist, where I work with people who are emotionally traumatized, where I work with people who have gone through either domestic or physical abuse, any kind of emotional abuse and trauma. And I get them to use play, to tell their stories, to use play to work on their healings, and to use play to find their paths. So it's like a discovery journey.
Did all of this ever affect you? You thinking, or getting married and all of that, the experiences you've had, did it ever affect you? Would you say?
I think yes. At a point, it did. Because I just felt, why would you get married? Why would you start having children? And all of a sudden, voila, you're out of the person's life. You're out of the child's life. And for me, it just didn't make sense. So for me then, it was a no-no. Until I got my healing by going through therapy, until I got my healing by rediscovering myself, and until I got to that point where I realized that Your story is your story. You make your story either beautiful or you continuously make it sad. So you get to that point where your sad story stares at you in your face, and whether you still want to keep going on that journey of sadness or you want to redefine that story. And redefining the story simply means I'm going to own my essence, no matter what I've gone through in the past.
So tell us about Own Your Essence. What is Own Your Essence about, and, you know, how does it work?
As an advocate of Own Your Essence, it simply is, no matter what has affected your person, no matter what has affected your inner man, no matter what has affected your journey, no matter what is questioning why you are alive when you're supposed to be dead, you need to get to that point where you tell everything, stop, 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 stop. I need to draw my life again. And that's one of the things I do in play therapy, where we use heart therapy to work with people. Draw yourself all over again. Draw your story all over again. And when you draw that story all over again and you add colors to those stories, you begin to live that life.
If you were to rewrite your story and everything that you've been through, how would you caption the movie? Or what would you call it?
I'll call it, if I'm to write my story, I'll call it Adventure of Zuriel.
Why Adventure of Zuriel?
It's been a whirlwind, up, down, until the sea became calm. Until the sea became calm. And, you know, when I start telling people my stories, and, you know, they begin to wonder, okay, no, it's not you. You're telling us about someone else. But people who were there when I went through all this would definitely say, yes, okay, this is what happened. We know. I always say it's just Adventure of Zuriel.
Are you in touch with your dad?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yes.
So how?
I didn't forgive him easily. No, I didn't forgive him easily.
From the story that you've actually told, I probably would have expected that you're not with him, you don't even know where he is and all of that. But
I got to that point where I realized that I will not forgive you for you, I'll forgive you for myself.
Okay.
I'll forgive you for myself because I want to be free of whatever bondage you have unconsciously, unintentionally, or maybe deliberately and intentionally fixed me in. And the moment if I continually dwell in that hurt, the man is living his life, he's enjoying himself.
As in?
And I will be feeling, no way, I won't give you that passion. I won't give you that happiness. I will not give you that joy to make me feel bad or to continually feel, he made a mistake, agreed. But my life is for me to determine, because if I've not gotten to that point where I forgive him, it means that the likelihood that I am going to live the kind of life he lived when I begin to have my own children, it's 100%.
So if I understand you correctly, we shouldn't just forgive for the person. We should forgive for ourselves to ensure that we're able to move on with life and we're free of whatever it is.
The truest forgiveness is when you forgive someone for yourself.
So now, Zuriel, Own Your Essence, Play Therapy, how does that work? Who are the people you work with? So do I just I need a play therapist, or how does that?
I basically work with organizations. I work with families. I work with individuals. I work with family organizations when it comes to team bonding and team building. I work with families that are having issues. Maybe they are going through divorce, or maybe the child they've experienced a traumatic incident, or maybe a traumatic incident could be that. The loss of a loved one in the home, or generally the whole family has an issue and they need to sort it out, or a family just want to bond and they do not know how to bond and they need to bond together, or maybe so a family that has experienced what I've experienced. And I work with individuals also who have gone through emotional hurt or physical hurt, any traumatic event, situations, or just individuals who have told themselves, I need to loosen up.
So if there's someone that is listening to you today, what's that one thing that you're going to tell them to help them, live life to the fullest and not be suicidal?
No one would live your life for you. You would live your own life. For every time you walk on the sand barefooted, you are leaving your footprint. The footprint you leave behind is the story you would leave behind. How you want people to read your story will determine the kind of story you want to live. But never forget, no one will write your story for you if you refuse to write your story. And peradventure you let someone else write your story, they will distort that story. It will not be the real thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zero, for being on the grill. We look forward to having you again. We just want to say a very big thank you to you. And
I'm on weight loss, but I'll take it.
Thank you
so much. Thank you.
And I hope that when we call you next time, you will come.
Anytime.
And probably we'll be having a play date on that day.
You bill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ask the Hope Grill. I am confused. I can do a lot of things very well. How do I find my true passion? I think you're a blessed human being that you can do so many things, that you have so many abilities, and that you can do so many things very well. Finding your passion requires you continuing to do. I say clarity comes in the place of doing. As you continue to do what you're working on, probably it is making hair, maybe it is being a stylist, is baking, is doing makeup, is working with the youth. Just keep doing it. As you do it, you will see the ones where you have a lot of strength and the one that comes out a lot more, or the one that tells your story a bit more. Then you start seeing a pointer to something that you should focus on, and then you take your time and you focus on those things. I think as you do that, you will know the things that you don't get tired when you're doing. So for instance, if you ask me, I can just be there for someone. It doesn't take anything from me. For some people, they get exhausted, they get tired, and they don't want to continue doing that. But for me, it just comes really naturally. So I want to encourage you to keep doing. So don't stop doing, just keep doing what you are doing. Quote for the week. Difficult roads often lead to a beautiful destination. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on the Hope Grill. We definitely had a good time with Zero because she is an example of a difficult road that has turned into a beautiful destination. Until I hear from you on Ask at the Hope Grill, be hope, do hope, and give hope. Bye.